Well, hello and welcome. If you are just now here joining us, we're going to be getting started here in just a few minutes. Uh, just want to wait for just a handful of people to hop onto our presentation. If you are on the screen right now and the video is a little distorted, go ahead and refresh your screen and hit the play button for the video. Everything should be good to go. But like I said, we're going to be getting started here in just a few minutes. We got a bunch of people who are registered for the training today, so I'm super excited to share with you with exactly what I've done to generate a six-figure business from my living room without being a tech genius or knowing anything about marketing. So I've got some really great information to share with us. If you're just now joining us, go ahead and introduce yourself into the chat box. Got a lot of folks hopping on to the presentation. So just tell me who you are and where you are from, and then we'll get right into the training. So I want to kind of welcome a handful of you here. So Eric, thanks for being with us. Chris, thanks for being here. Charlie, it's nice to see you. George, thanks for coming in. And Josh, so while we're waiting, go ahead and tell me what's the one thing that you want to get from this training today. And while we're going through the presentation, I'll see if I can do my best to kind of answer that and give you some things that I have done. So Chris just wants to something better to do than selling cars. Awesome, Chris. I think Eric says I'm in the mortgage company, mortgage industry, and looking to generate more leads. Awesome. Well, this will definitely help you in that aspect. So yes, this presentation is absolutely live. So if you are here right now, don't leave because we're going to be getting started here in about 2 minutes. So I don't know about y'all, but I am super excited. My girlfriend's youngest son is getting ready to graduate today. So not today, but tomorrow. So we got a very busy weekend. We also have some family coming in town for our graduation. So we've got lots of stuff going on. Super busy. So right after this presentation, I got a couple of sales calls I got to make. Hopefully, going to close some more business today. So I'm super excited about that. And so I'm going to hop into the training and show you exactly what I do and how I do it. So that way you could leave from this training and implement everything I'm about to share with you. So if you are, we're about ready to get started, about 2 minutes. Will there be a recording? There's a possible there's gonna be a recording. I'm not quite sure yet. Depends on how many people show up today. But I am recording it today. I don't know if I'll be sending out a replay, but I am recording this presentation. So if we have enough people to register, absolutely will I send out a replay. All right. So yeah. All right, so we got about another 30 seconds, and then we're going to get started. So if you are ready to get moving and you're ready to kick this training off, I'm going to uh, kick this presentation started, and we'll go from there. All right, so the title of this presentation is How I Created a Seven-Figure Business from my living room without being a tech genius or knowing anything about marketing. So let me ask you all a question, and you can answer for yourself. What would your life be like if you could consistently pull in upwards of 20, 30, maybe $50,000 a month, all by yourself without additional staff or overhead? Wouldn't that be a complete game changer? Absolutely. So over the next hour or so, I'm going to show you how I created a highly profitable digital marketing agency from my living room and how you can do the exact same thing even if you have little or no experience whatsoever. In fact, I'm going to get into the nitty gritty and how to find red hot leads or red hot clients who are practically begging you to help them and how you can create leverage so you can get paid consistently whether you're working or not. Now, just for attending this workshop, I'm going to give you a copy of my exact funnel. This is the system that I use each and every day to bring high ticket clients into my business. And I'm going to get a little bit more in detail on why this funnel matters to you a little bit later in the presentations, but I'm going to give you a copy of this if you stick to the very end of the presentation. So, but before we get started, I want to give you a quick introduction to who I am and why you should be listening to me. So first of all, this is a picture of my family. Of course, on the right-hand side of your screen, that's a picture of me. In the center is a picture of my girlfriend. And in the background is a picture of my beautiful daughter, Ashlyn. This is my immediate family. Of course, my girlfriend has her two children, one that is 22 and one that is 18, and that's the one that's getting ready to graduate. And at the end of the summer, he is getting ready to leave for the Navy. So we're super excited about that. But before I got into digital marketing, I was in the United States Marines. I spent 10 years in the Marines, stationed most of my career on the East Coast at Camp Lejeune. And right before I left the Marines, I was an instructor up there in Aberdeen, Maryland. So unfortunately, I was medically retired from the military, and due to a back injury. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was married to my first wife, and we decided to move from the East Coast to the West Coast, and I planted in by Seattle, Washington, a little town called Bothell. And as soon as I got in the Marine Corps, I got right into selling cars. Couldn't find work anywhere else. I tried applying for Amazon, Microsoft. There's a company called Boeing here. If anybody's ever heard of Boeing, apply for all those different positions here locally. But here in Washington, lot of the jobs are very political. So if you don't know somebody, it's hard to get your foot in the door. So there was an ad to sell some cars. So I figured, hey, selling cars is probably pretty easy. So I went and started working at a Chevrolet store, and lo and behold, my first year in the business, I was the number one salesperson and made a lot of money. So I did that for about 3 to 4 years. And, one thing about working in the auto industry is that you put a lot of time, a lot of hours into your career. I was working 6, sometimes 7 days a week, and I was working bell to bell. I don't know if any of y'all here are done sales or work on a car lot, but you got to put the time in if you want to make some decent money. So for me, prior to starting sales, the military didn't pay me a whole bunch of money, even though I was pretty high in the food chain. I was an E6 when I got out, but I was only making about $4 grand a month, and which I didn't think was all that much. I wanted to make 6 figures plus, so I grinded out very heavily in the car business. So my wife at the time came to me. She said, "Hey, we want you to do something different. You're not really spending any time at home." So I had this great idea that we should open up a brick and mortar business. So at the time, my wife was really big into tanning, so we launched a tanning business and built out a space, bought equipment, the whole 9 yards. And unfortunately, during the construction of our business, we had some unfortunate events happen. We had a contractor who had a heart attack during the construction and was not able to finish the job. And unfortunately, he had taken most of the money and was not willing to pay it back. So we had to really bootstrap our business just to get the doors open. And that's how I kind of got my start in internet marketing. I had to learn how to drive traffic to my new business. So at the time, Google AdWords was just kind of starting. Facebook was out there, but Facebook wasn't really selling ads at the time. So we went out there and created content and specials and what have you. And lo and behold, I was able to really build that business to over 5,000 customers and then $500,000 in sales. Then the unthinkable happened. As everybody knows, here's the financial crash of 2008 took place, and companies left and right started going out of business. So at the time, I was still working in the car business. I was selling cars, and unfortunately, the dealership that I was working at got a letter from General Motors that they were going out of business, and I was let go. So I left working for Chevrolet and took a job as a finance manager at a Honda store, and was working there for a couple months. I was there from August until December of 2009, and found out the owner was stealing money for the company. So Honda came in and took that franchise back and brought in some new management. So the new management came in and pretty much wiped all the managers out. So anyways, I was let go at the end of 2009. And so what I decided to do at that time was really focus on my business at the time. And I figured if my wife and I could work instead of paying employees, that we could probably survive. So I was eligible for unemployment. So I got unemployment. My wife and I worked at the tanning salon full time for the whole year of 2010. And then at the very beginning of, well, at the very end of 2010, my landlord came up to me and says, "Hey, guess what? Your competitor, who has got like 40 locations, they want your spot, and we're going to give it to them. So next year, we're not going to renew your lease." So I had a 5-year lease, and at the end of 2011 was the end of my lease. So my landlord said, if you can leave, at the end of the month, which was January, we won't make you pay for the remaining of your lease of the year. So um, I decided to close my business down at that time, and my competitor walked in and basically took over my business that I spent about $300,000 building out. Got that for literally for about $3,000. So unfortunately, that was on 2011, January 11th, where I closed my business, and then shortly after that, my wife and I had to file bankruptcy. Our business was attached to our house. There's no way I could pay for the expenses attached to the business. So I had no work, I had no income, so I was forced to file bankruptcy. So that due to that bankruptcy, my wife decided that she didn't want to participate anymore. So we got a divorce, and then after that, I literally lost everything. So I knew that we're talking at the end of 2011. Um, I kind of had to take some time off. I actually left the Washington to kind of get my head straight. Came back in to Washington at the um, very end of 2011, and I tried to get back into the car business. I worked for a dealership, and I just absolutely hated working at the car lot. So I decided that I'm going to reinvent myself, and I started looking at ways to generate income. So this is kind of the birth of Renegade Media Company. So I'm sitting there in the house that was getting ready to be repossessed by the bank. My wife, of course, took all the furniture and everything. So imagine a house that's just basically empty. She left like the couch and love seat, and that was about it. So I'm sitting there on the couch in an empty house, trying to think of what I could do. And so I decided that I'm going to start this business, and um, with the I took a job as a finance manager at a car lot for a couple months, saved up some money, and then at the beginning of 2012, I quit that job and decided I'm never going to work for somebody else again, and that's how Renegade Media Company was born. So in the beginning, this is how I found clients. So started going to BNI. BNI is a networking group. I don't know if you've ever heard of BNI, but BNI is a where businesses go to network. So you have to actually pay to become a member. But the cool thing about BNI is that you can go to a couple BNI meetings in different locations for free, up to 2 times without paying anything. So I had done that with a couple different BNIs located in my local area, and I was able to find my first client. So my very first client was a contractor, um, and I'm going to get a little detail, but I basically went to any place where I can network. So places where I can network was places like Meetup, luncheons and what have you. Wherever I can go, where other business owners kind of hung out, I went there to try to generate business. And like I said, I landed my first few clients. So my very first client that I landed, I sold them some web design or a website and some local marketing, and I charged that client $2,000 up front and literally $500 a month. And that first client was what really saved me, because it was able to get me into an apartment that I was paying for. I didn't have any money at the time that I launched the business. I literally did my last $80, which I put into my gas tank, and luckily I landed that first client, and then it started snowballing from there. So my next client, again, I landed from a networking event. It was $2,000 up front, $1,750 a month. Now, the cool thing about my first few clients, I signed every one of my clients to a 6-month contract, so I still had residual income coming in. So that's the kind of the key about starting a digital marketing agency or any kind of business, is that you want to have residual income coming in. So you want to be able to sell whatever you're selling once and then get paid month after month after month. So that was the business model that I implemented in my business. And as I brought on new clients, I kept on bringing more money in. And eventually, by month 4, I was making almost about $8,000 a month, and that $8,000 a month is roughly what you need to have to generate $100,000 per year income. So once I kind of got the process running of going out there and networking and go door to door knocking, I wanted a better way to prospect for my business. So what I did is, like every entrepreneur does, is they kind of get creative and to try to find ways to find customers. So since I didn't have any money to advertise, I took the local phone book, which everybody gets still to this day delivered to their door. I found an ad that was a full page ad like this one. And then I stuck a sticky note on it just like this. It says, "Hey, I found your ad in the yellow pages. I have a really cool idea that will make this work much better for you. Give me a call." And I mailed it to the business owner. Well, cool thing about that campaign was it generated me $50,000 in revenue just from that one campaign. The next campaign I launched, I don't know about you, but we get these things called the Valpak that gets mailed to us in our mailbox. And you find these little ads that look just like this inside the envelopes. There's normally about 20 or 30 of them of business owners who are looking for business. So I don't know about you, but most of the time the Valpak at my household just ends up in the trash. So I had this really cool idea. I looked at this company called 3D Mail Results. That I met these folks at a networking group. They sell what is called lumpy mail items. So one of the items that they have available is a trash can that stands about 6 inches high, about 3 inches in diameter, and it's open. And you can put a letter in it, so you can actually mail this in the mail at the post office. So I took this ad right here, and I wrote a really cool letter. I says, "Hey, I found this in the trash. I figured that instead of you throwing your money away, you might want to hear this really cool idea I have on how you can put this money to work better for you." And I actually stuck it in the mail in this trash can right here, this blue one, and I mailed it out to like this lady right here. She's got her address right here. I just mailed it to her. And funny thing is, that campaign generated me $10,000 in revenue. So it cost me about $50, made $10,000 in revenue. So I kept on doing that over and over. I did it with people who are advertising online. Now, anytime that a business is looking for more clients, they normally spend money on advertising. So, dentists like this are advertising. They're spending money on Google. So I would send them. I'd take a screenshot, send them a nice little letter in this trash can, tell them that they're throwing their money away, and how I could do it better for them. So, they would call me to get in contact with me, and I would sell them some services. I even went as far as sending them, cold letters. Like I would write their names and address down, and I would just send them a letter with $1 million bill attached to it, and says, "Hey, let me show you $1 million formula." So everything that I'd done up to this point was, putting me on track to $1 million business, which I'm still on track at. But I would confidently send them this letter with no problem. So, throughout this presentation, I'm going to show you how to find clients. So here is a dentist who's advertising on Groupon. As you can see, he has sold this package here, this $49 dental exam, for $49, and so far he's sold $420. 420 patients at $49 each. Now, you may or may not know on how Groupon works, but the way Groupon works is that they take half of whatever revenue that they generate for you. So in this particular case, the dentist spent $10,290 to generate, 420 patients that probably only about 10% of them will ever stick around long term, because just that's how folks actually do business on Groupon. They're looking for a deal. They're not looking for something long term. So again, I would send this dentist a screenshot of this with a letter saying, "Hey, you just spent $10,000 with Groupon. Let me show you how I can save you, more than half by doing something different." So of course they would, contact me and generate some revenue. Then all of a sudden, I came across this guy named Russell Brunson, and if you don't know, he's the founder of ClickFunnels. Now, what Russell kind of taught me was the concept of a funnel. And the reason why a funnel is important to you or any business owner is because you can get laser target to exactly who you want to advertise. And if you know your numbers and how each aspect of your funnel works, then you can predict down to the dollar and how much money you're going to make. So here's an example of one of my funnels that I run every single day. So I target auto dealers, I target dentists, I target chiropractors, I target to plastic surgeons. I run an ad that looks like this to a landing page. That landing page captures their information. It sends them to a video like what you're watching right now. And at the end of the video, I offer them an opportunity to schedule a call with me so that we could talk to them about how they can implement this system into their business. So here's kind of some rough numbers on what I started spending at the very beginning of implementing this strategy into my business. Now I've been doing this now for about 2 years with this style marketing. Up before I was just kind of doing things the old school method, direct mail, cold calling, emailing, you name it, I was doing it. I tried everything under the sun to generate business. And by far, this is the easiest. So spend $2,000 a month on ads on Facebook. And typically it costs me about $40 a lead to generate a lead. So that's 50 leads a month. And out of those 50 leads a month, about half of them will watch this presentation. And from that, about half more will book an appointment. So in this case study, if I close 30% of the people who schedule an appointment with me, that's $75 a month in an additional revenue to what I'm already generating already. So if you keep on doing that each and every month, let's just kind of do some math here. Let's figure that we did $7,500 a month compounded every month for the next 5 months. So month one, you're doing $7,500. Month two, you're doing $15,000. Month three, you're doing $25,000. Month four, you're doing $30,000. Month four, you're doing almost $40,000. Month five, you're doing $50,000 a month. So that is where my business is today. So here's some proof. A lot of people talk a lot of smack, a lot of crap, but I'm one of those people that is a firm believer that the proof is in the pudding. If you can't prove to me that it actually exists, then I don't believe you. So here's a copy of my leads that come in every single day. Just imagine if you had a system like what I just showed you, and you're waking up every single day with leads on your cell phone saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you." So these right here are leads. These are people who have booked appointments on my calendar. And then what happens is that, of course, you get them on the phone and you close deals. So this particular invoice is a copy of an invoice I received just a couple days ago. And as you can see, I was paid $4,000. So far, this is the income that my business has generated to this point this year. This is how much profit we've had. And this is my residual income that's coming in each and every month. So basically, what I want to share with you is that anytime that I want to have a raise, I go to my faucet here, I turn it up, and I generate more money. So the more money I invest into advertising, the more new customers I get every single month. So imagine that you were in my shoes or in your shoes. Right now, you're doing whatever you're doing, and you're not happy with what you're doing right now. So imagine you had a system in place where anytime that you wanted more money, just go up there, turn the faucet up, and make more money. How would that change your life? It'd be a complete game changer, wouldn't it? So now you're probably wondering, what kind of results that we get for our clients. So here's some screenshots. So most of my clients were able to double, triple, even quadruple their results in about 6 months' time. We take clients from getting virtually no traffic or little traffic to hundreds or even thousands of calls per month. So far, we haven't had one client that we've worked with where we've not been able to double, if not triple, their amount of calls and traffic to their website within 6 months. So as you can see, most of my clients are pretty happy campers. So I got a question for you. You got to stop trading your time for money. So if you're working your 9 to 5 and you're punching the clock, well, every day you show up work, you're trading time for money. Now, I want to talk to you about leverage. And remember what I talked to you about. Just imagine that you had 4 new clients a month. That would be an extra at $2,500. Now, that's what the very least that I charge for my clients is $2,500 a month. So that would mean an extra 10,000. 6 would be 15. An extra 10 would be $25,000 a month on top of what you're already generating. Now, you can do this part time from your house. Okay, so here's some, again, here's some more proof. Here's a couple of copies of contracts. This particular contract was for $7,000 a month for 12 months, which is $84,000. This one was for $2,000 a month for 6 months, which was $12,000. This one was for $2,000 a month for at least $3,000, so that's a total of $6,000. So imagine that you had these contracts coming into your business or for whatever you're going to do each and every month. So right now, most of you, if you're in sales, you're selling clients one-on-one. You're not really leveraging time. If you're working for somebody else, you have to wait for them to spend the money to bring a prospect to you for you to sell them. If you had a system of your own, you could be completely in control of your destiny. So how many here is getting all their leads and sales from networking or hustling? If you are, you're not systematizing. So imagine getting but applications every single day of people who are qualified to work with you in your inbox saying, hey, I have the financial resources necessary to invest in my business. Imagine that every single day. So I don't want to take a whole lot of your time. So, I kind of gone through this presentation really fast. And so today I promised you on how to create a digital agency from your living room. I even showed you on how to find prospects who are practically begging you to help them. And if you implement the system that I showed you today, you could actually leverage so that you get paid while you sleep. So for those who are still here today, I have a very special offer for you. And what that offer is I have created a 6-week master class on how you can start a digital marketing agency that is by invitation only. We're only accepting 20 people who decide to move forward today and actually apply. So right now we have roughly about 150 people registered for the presentation. We're only taking 20 because, like I said, I have a full-time agency that I'm running on the background. I don't have a whole lot of time to coach and mentor a bunch of people. So I'm looking at taking on just 20 people and help them build a business from scratch. So today you got basically three choices. First option is to do nothing, which of course requires zero risk, and you have zero faith and continue to experience the same results that you've always had with little or zero change. The second option is to launch your very own business by implementing everything I just showed you up to this point. And the third option is to invest some time and actually learn from somebody who's actually in the trenches. So just imagine what one client could be worth to you. You could be charging $1,000 a month. You could be charging $5,000 a month, even $10,000 per month or more. I showed you contracts where I'm charging upwards of $7,000 a month. So imagine what 10 clients a month would be worth to you. So if you're interested in at least talking to me about what the investment would be, go to renegademarketing.net/apply. Once again, it's renegademarketing.net/apply. Now, while we're waiting, let's go ahead and answer a couple of questions. So Bill wants to know well, Bill, you have to apply to find out. So go ahead and schedule a call on my calendar by going to renegademarketing.net/apply. Book a date and time on my calendar. Again, there's a little bit of an application. Fill out the information. If the information doesn't apply to you, just put does not apply. And then we'll hop on the phone and I'll go in more in depth of what the training is, what you can expect, and what the investment is. Sound fair? Awesome. So what's our next question here? All right. So Charlie wants to know what kind of industries does this work with? Well, I've been successful with selling these services to auto dealerships, chiropractors, motorcycle dealerships, dentists, lawyers, cosmetic surgeons, eye doctors. Pretty much, I target any kind of business that has a high value customer. So that could be mortgage brokers, that could be real estate agents, it could be boat sales, pretty much anything that has a client value of at least $2,000 or more. So the reason why I go after those clients, because I only have to bring them a handful of results for them to justify paying me what I want to get paid. And so there's not a whole lot of work on my end to kind of generate those kind of results. Now, if you're working for, say, like a hairstylist that is selling $50 to $100 hair treatment, well, you got to get them a lot of customers for them to spend $2,000 a month with you, plus advertising. So, that's another good point. So everything that my clients are paying me, the minimum of $2,500 a month, that does not include advertising expenses. So most of my clients add another $1,500 to $2,000, as much as $8,000 a month on advertising through Google and Facebook and what have you. And so that is a totally separate thing. So who here is ready to get started? I see a couple. Me. All right, awesome. So if you haven't already, go to renegademarketing.net/apply. I'm looking for a bunch of you to hop on the calendar, book an appointment, and get ready for some really awesome one-on-one training with me and my team. So I got to get going. I got another call. I got to hop on here in about 10 minutes, and I need to get prepared for that. So if you got some additional questions, go ahead and shoot me a email at support@renegademediacompany.com. You could also call my office. It's 877-933-7170, and my staff will be happy to book a date and time on my calendar to schedule your call. So again, 877-933-7170, or go to renegademarketing.net/apply. I look forward to everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here today. Have a fantastic day.